Welcome to episode 48 of the Creative Train podcast. This episode is called Living a Creative Life. And living a creative life, in my mind and heart, is so much more than just taking on new hobbies. Living a creative life involves removing shackles that we've allowed adulthood to be placing on us. And those shackles can be many kinds of things, but I think the most potent of them is that we forget how to play. The grown-up mindset tends to look at play as something that is for children, or something that we are only allowed to do when we take our vacation time off work in the summer. In other words, it's a luxury at best for grown-ups. So how do we bring back play into our busy lifestyles? Well, I've built my entire career around this concept, and I've got some big thoughts for you. All aboard? So what is play, and why is it important? We're talking about much more here than playing with Lego or dolls. Some folks are really into that, and that's totally fine with me. But for those of you who aren't into that kind of stuff, let's figure some things out for you. Play for the grown-up can be something as simple as taking your phone camera out into the backyard or into the park and taking photos of multicolored leaves when they fall to the ground. Make a little mosaic out of them. Make a little picture out of it. It could also mean not having your phone at all and picking up one of those leaves and crunching it up in your hand, enjoying the memories that the scent brings back. Play can be a sensory experience as well, something that takes your thoughts away from your job, away from your bills, your car repairs, how to get the kids to do their homework. And if even only for a few seconds, play is allowing ourselves to take a deep breath of our surroundings and try to see the beauty in it somewhere, somehow, sometime. Take some time to smell the roses, as they say, but also take some time to feel the grass on the back of your hand. Run your fingertips over a tree trunk and take a minute to think about the incredible network of roots and limbs and leaves keeping that tree alive. Whether you live in a bustling urban center or out in the rural back roads like me, the wonders of nature are totally free for you to experience if you take the time to do so. And it's a magical thing. You reassociate yourself with that childlike wonder. We often associate the word play with sports, and to a degree that's true, but not everybody is athletically inclined. We see public play spaces with basketball or tennis courts or baseball and soccer fields, but what about a play space for the mind? That's an interesting concept, eh? The emphasis on athletics being the main way we are to, quote, play, it's a good thing, encouraging physical activity and all, but a place where someone can take time to sit in a natural environment, get some sun or be in the shade, watch the birds and feel some grass on your feet. All these things require us to slow down, especially if you're not glued to your phone. Ever notice how time slips away from you when you're doom scrolling? Suddenly your break time is over and you have to get back to work. Or suddenly you realize that you should have been out of bed 20 minutes ago, or you're losing precious sleep time scrolling social media at 2 a.m. That's not play. Those are distraction. The idea of a nature break is silly to some people, but it's actually mandated in some corporate situations, as it's pretty common knowledge that we tend to regain a sense of balance, perspective, and calm once we allow ourselves that time. This is playtime for the mind. Some might call it mindfulness or like a walking meditation. But allowing yourself this time will only bring you benefits. It's like playing, but you're not being goofy. You're letting your mind wander and roam. We have to allow ourselves to stop thinking of these moments as a reward for good performance. These moments are an essential ingredient in your good performance. Don't push them to the side as something you might find time for later. For me, as an artist, whether it's glass or music or even cooking, the main spark for me is curiosity. Curiosity brings with it a level of expectation, inquisitiveness. because it also requires us to let down our assumptions, to put aside those maybe negative expectations that discourage our actions and leave us completely under or unmotivated. Curiosity also has to contain a level of innocence and vulnerability, and maybe even a bit of a mischievous spirit. You know, that what if kind of thing? We all know that if you're experimenting with baking a birthday cake, it's not our curiosity that needs to be engaged, whether we consider Dijon mustard should be included in the icing. That I would call common sense. There's no real curiosity needed for that. But the curious part could be something as simple as adding sprinkles to the batter, maybe daring to turn it into a layer cake, or use a differently shaped cake pan. Anything that gets you thinking outside of the box is good. It's play, and you're allowed to do it. For me, when it comes to songwriting, I can honestly say that I'm almost 100% of the day conjuring melodies and harmonies, arranging lyrics and figuring out rhythms or considering new recording methods. And when I'm not doing that, my music mind is hard at play, considering that every sound I hear is part of my soundscape and how I might be able to emulate it or recreate it for use in a song. That might be interesting, right? Funny case in point, during my music lessons last night, a few parents were in the waiting room chatting and stuff. You know, their phones were going off with their respective alert tones. And I was quick to parrot them back on the piano. Ding, ding, whatever that one was. And they all thought it was, kind of funny that I could do that. I mean, like, really big picture, it's not such a big deal if you are accustomed to ear training. And I kind of jokingly told them it was only going to get worse if they didn't put their phones on vibrate. So I said that I would start to make a song up around it. The thing is, they were not all particularly harmonious tones to one another. So I did try putting them together in a brief improvised chorus about the distracting sounds in my head. And again, they all had a laugh overhearing me from the other room. Instead of getting upset that they're kind of getting a bit irritating with the phone sounds and whatnot, I decided to let my inner kid have a voice. You know, that kid that does things specifically to irritate their parents? Yep. That's me. My daughter is 34, and we still do that thing to this day. Every moment we are together is playtime. We have our serious moments, but we let the inner kid have their fun too. On some level, we're both, anywhere between 8 to 10 years old inside. And the grandkids find it hilarious to see. And even if you're not a musician or a particularly good cook or a dancer or a poet, you can still keep your curiosity and imagination alive with some fun games that you can play by yourself in that vast theater of your own mind. So try this. This is something I love to do. Next time you're at work or at the local grocery store, imagine that you're in a movie. Nothing is particularly happening, but look around you and think about which of the Hollywood folks you know would you cast as the people around you. Now that you've assembled your cast, what would you want to see or hear them doing? Maybe it's Keanu Reeves as the grocery clerk, interacting with a geriatric Marilyn Monroe, trying to explain how to use the debit machine. Or maybe it's Mr. Rogers walking his dog, walking by his neighbor's house who just happens to be Shaq, and they have a little conversation on the front yard. I don't know, but you will probably find yourself snickering and maybe chuckling out loud, allowing your mind some of this off-leash time to run around and have some goofy thoughts. Some of my music students ask me where I get such strange ideas from when we're improvising or, making up exercises. And I tell them, I have a secret. I may look like a grown-up, but there's a very energetic 8-year-old alive and well in me. And it's just me being curious. I've spent my life as once aspiring creative person into my adulthood, where I find myself now having made my entire career by allowing that curious inner kid to take the helm of these adult hands. It's kind of like that Ratatouille movie, you know? I think the big thing to take away from all of this is remembering that your leisure, your playtime, your time for recreation or recreation is not a reward or a treat for you when you have finally accomplished something onerous. That time, if even for a few seconds, a few times a day, can be the catalyst that sparks new ideas to life. It has you maybe rearrange your living room to be a bit more interesting. It has you trying to sing harmony to that jingle you hear on your radio on your daily commutes all the time. Or maybe it has you one step closer to copying that elusive KFC recipe. Whatever it is, take time for nature. Touch the grass, look at the sun on the water, watch the birds, and wonder what they're thinking. Or imagine yourself as the director of that movie that you're currently in. It doesn't have to be creating tangible things, visual art or music or food. It just has to be what I call giving your mind some off-leash time. Your mind will become healthier, more agile, quicker. You'll develop a strong appetite for new experience as you find confidence in your curiosity. You don't have to be an artist to have a creative mindset, but you do need to be curious and open to what that can bring into your life. There's your pep talk. Now go get to work. So yeah, that's what I think. Playtime. That off-leash time. Think of your dog's face, the look on his or her face when you take the leash off and they can finally bolt. Now imagine doing that to your brain, to your mind, to your heart. Just imagine what can happen if you take the leash off and let your mind go where it wants to go. Unhindered, unabated, without worry, without concern of judgment. You just do it because you can. So again, like I said at the end, you don't have to be an artist to have a creative mindset. You just have to be curious. You have to be willing to think kind of like a kid again, right? Play. You're allowed to.